The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect those of the Barbers Chat Network, our great partners at H&B Media, or any of our media peers. We're just five idiots who love sports and love to talk shit. If you're offended easily, then this show isn't for you. And for those who aren't offended easily, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Remember, it's only entertainment.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold. My agent just said we made 100 flat. Make it back and make it stack. This like no Steven Jack. Put my rings up in the camera like I needed that. Up in the air and at the rim is where I meet them at.
Before we start the show, we want to thank our sponsors, Pillars. Pillars is the best clothing line in the Chicagoland area. If you're looking for a dope hoodie, a sweatsuit, shirts, shoes, or even stuff for your kids, Pillars is where you should go. You can visit any of their 4 store locations in the Chicagoland area or visit pillarsclub.co and order online. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another edition of I'm Not Gonna Hold You, man. I am your host, Scott. It is Monday, February 19th, 2024, and we got another great edition for you today, man. A lot of NBA talk on this episode, man. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarbChairScott. You can also follow the Barbers Chat Network at BarbersChatNet on Twitter and IG. You can follow our partners at H&B Media at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. And of course, you can get in tune with our sponsors, Pillars at pillarsclub.co. Get all your clothes and all your shoes over there, or you can visit any of their 4 locations in the Chicagoland area. And of course, if you want to get everything extra we got from I'm Not Gonna Hold You, everything extra we got from the Barbers Chat Network, you can subscribe to the Patreon, patreon.com/Barbers Chat Network, where we have our local hour, which we'll be doing right after this. And of course, you get all the segments early, you get all the clips early. And of course, if you subscribe to the $10 holla, you get everything which we do from the Barbers Chat Network on the Patreon. And if you're watching this on Instagram, listen to the podcast version. We want you to like, subscribe, and comment. We appreciate all the feedback, man. We've got a packed show for y'all. We've got Pavy joining us in just a second for our weekend in the association, but I'm going to start this off with my sound off. Man, I know I'm aware I'm going to sound like an old grumpy man, not only in the sound off, but in this episode in general, but the NBA has to figure this shit out. This shit has gone from very entertaining to something that I just don't give a fuck about anymore. And this is something where it's more, I'm gonna focus on All-Star Weekend here instead of my overall complaints with the NBA, as I've said many times on this show and also on Twitter. I know I come off like I hate the NBA. We've even had some people comment on here like, y'all don't even say anything good about the NBA. Just stick to NFL and shit like that. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I don't favor the NFL. I favor the NFL. I am obsessed with football. I understand that. But I love the NBA. I love basketball. I have been a fan. The NBA was the first sport that NBA's first league that I really, really watched. I started watching sports in 1995 when I got introduced to who the hell Michael Jordan was. I was like 7 years old at the time, and I watched exclusively the NBA for at least the first 5-6 years of my viewing life as a sports fan. I used to love watching, and it's just something now where the product is bad. But more importantly, the All-Star game, the All-Star weekend. I'm not going to sit up here and act like the All-Star game was ever this ultra competitive, game 7 type energy. It's never, ever been like that. I'm not going to sit up here with nostalgia eyes and say that. But it has been much better than it is right now. It's to the point right now where what's the point of having it? Like the dunk contest is a cooked product. I don't know if we run out of the amount of dunks there is to do, or there's just not enough big names in the fucking contest. Like Jaylen Brown was the biggest name in the dunk contest. Mac McClung, as entertaining as he's been the last 2 years, and I'll give it to him, he's tried. He has played a total of 4 NBA games. You need bigger names in there. You need household names, or at least guys people even know. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if we look at the in my opinion, the best dunk contest of all time, which was Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon. Yeah, they weren't the stars that they are now, but we knew who those guys were, and they also made big-time dunks in game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't even know Obi Toppin had a brother till yesterday. Like, we got shit that it just I don't even know. And from a guy like me, and there used to be a time where, like, these players gave a fuck. And that's just not just with the All-Star break. The regular season has been pointless from, like, the last couple years. I'm not going to shit on the playoffs. I think the playoffs post-pandemic have been very entertaining, and I've been entertained with all of them. But the regular season has just been a waste. If you got an NBA season, which essentially lasts 8 months, from if we round up from November, because it basically starts the last week of October, to the end of June. That's an 8-month NBA season. Basically, only telling me that 2 out of those 8 months actually matter. Now, I personally feel that all-star games across the board in all leagues are pretty much pointless in this day and age. I think the best all-star game is probably Major League Baseball, but even then, I don't have as much incentive to watch as I used to. It doesn't give me the same thing. Now, maybe I'm older and maybe it's just not for me anymore. That could be it. That could be a point where maybe I'm just out of its target audience. Maybe I need to talk to some younger people. Maybe their opinions on the All-Star game has changed. The NFL changed the Pro Bowl to just, okay, we're just going to do a flag football game. And while it has been a little bit more entertaining, I still haven't watched. I haven't watched any Pro Bowl since like 2004. I just gave up on that. Now, the All-Star weekend has always been their crown jewel. This is the first week that the NBA has had to themselves all season. No NFL, no Super Bowl, nothing has been going on. And you fumble it like that. Now, I'm also part of the big city people that I feel like it should be in a big city, but as far as how they actually carried Indianapolis, I think they actually did the presentation was pretty good. Having Babyface sing the anthem, having Oscar Robertson, Reggie Miller, and I know I'm forgetting Larry Bird come out and speak to the crowd. That was dope. And I thought they did that pretty well as far as giving the city its love, having Mike Epps in the intro and things like that. I think the way they did that was perfect. It's never going to be canceled because of how important it is. And I think the ratings are going to come out and they're going to be pretty big. But something's got to change from an entertainment standpoint. If you got guys like David Aldridge who eat, sleep, and shit the NBA saying it's ridiculous and I don't even want to watch. You got guys like Scott Van Pelt saying, if you don't care, why should I? The average person doesn't give a fuck. I have never in my life, out of the almost 30 years I've been watching the All-Star game, actually stopped watching at halftime. I stopped watching at halftime, not just because how bad the game was, but who the fuck, with all due respect, she's a Chicago legend, who the fuck booked Jennifer Hudson? Like, there was nobody else you could have booked. None of these other little rap niggas you could have got, or somebody else that you could have had. And the younger generation, if I don't know any Jennifer Hudson songs, and she's my generation, these little niggas definitely don't know any fucking Jennifer Hudson songs. I didn't understand the point of that. You'd have had a better job having Babyface at halftime do that. At least he's from Indianapolis. Like, that didn't make any sense to me either. I stopped watching that. And only thing I actually watched on All-Star Saturday was the Steph and the Sabrina thing, which I had an issue about too, but we'll get in that in a moment. I just feel like the overall thing needs to be revamped. I don't know if it's something where you need to put money on the line, because outside of the in-season tournament, that little 5-6 week period, it has been bad basketball. And the fact that we got to pay these guys even more money for them to actually give a fuck, I think is the problem. And as all NBA fans, this shit needs to be better. Shit, Adam Silver knows this. This is some shit now I'm making up. When he gave the MVP trophy to Dame Lillard last night, he said, well, the Eastern Conference has set a record, 211 points. Congrats, I guess. He was disgusted. This shit has to fucking change, man. So that's why I got about that as an NBA fan, as just an overall viewer of this shit. If nothing else changes, and one last thing, Anthony Edwards. I know this is the longest sound off ever, but Anthony Edwards, what the fuck? I love Ant. I'm a big fan of his. But you can't go out there and say, oh, we don't even want to play the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? I'm going out there playing with my left hand. That shit is bullshit. Like, come on, dog. At least try. At least try. Like, we had moments where you had the East coming down from 20 points 23 years ago in 2001. Remember, we had Kobe guarding Mike, LeBron guarding Kobe. Remember the All-Star game where everybody got mad at LeBron because he didn't shoot the game-winning shot? What happened to those moments, man? Like, I'm not expecting this to be over-the-top intensity, but it used to be a thing where also it was like, oh, well, they'll play through the motions for the first 2.5 quarters. Then the fourth quarter comes and they turn it up. We won't even get that, man. We don't even get that. I'm just overall fed up with the product, and something needs to change. So that is got to be the longest sound off in the history of this show. We're gonna bring in the rest of my cast in when we got the one and only JR Bang. You can follow him at all social media platforms at JR Bang. We've got the one and only the president of Barber's Chat Network, executive producer of this show, and our Morehouse brother, Dante Miles. You can follow him at October's on Twitter. And of course, we got the one only Pat Vito here, Pavy World on Twitter and Instagram. Visit patverbs.com right now as they are all joining me. Courtney will be joining us in the second hour for the Hot Corner. We'll be talking about some baseball. But how are y'all gentlemen doing today?
Hey, you snap. That was your best sound off.
I was fed up.
You snapped, my G.
I was fed up.
Best sound off. Gotta give you your respect.
Thank you.
I'm saying only thing I don't agree with is I think you got to keep rotating the All-Star game just because it's supposed to be the showcase of your best talent, and especially in today's game with the way these niggas sit out games, it's like this may be the people in that city. This may be their one time to see them. So other than that, I feel you. It's something got to change, but it's one of those things kind of like I know it's gonna sound crazy. It's kind of like with racism, G. It got to be a mentality change. I can't
transition.
But but it's a fact though. I can't. You can't force nobody to do shit. Like so, like Ant hit the nail in the head. Like they don't give a fuck. So like I don't care how much you incentivize it. The players have to care. Like at least and hard enough to go for a quarter. Like, but they don't.
Yeah, man. We're gonna start with Pavy here, man. First of all, Pav, how you feeling?
I'm chilling, bro. No complaints. No complaints.
Let's just get right into it, man. Let's just get with the All-Star weekend, man. Pav, what was your overall thoughts before we go like on full breakdown of each thing from All-Star weekend? What was I feel like the biggest NBA fan out of the four of us, like you will legitimately watch, like Pav will watch old basketball games at like 2 a.m. in the morning with like a glass of wine and just chilling. Like he'll watch 1977 finals. Like this nigga loves basketball. So from a basketball lover perspective, what was your overall take of this weekend?
I think we're over exaggerating how bad it was. I think it definitely really had bad moments. Like there were some awful moments. The skills challenge, I have no idea what that was. I don't know why we changed it. Like there was nothing wrong with the skills challenge, with the original skills challenge. I don't know what the fuck that was. So like that, I don't know. The Rising Stars game, I didn't watch this. I watched a little bit of it. I don't even know why we changed the Rising Stars game. Like where they got like this different team format. I don't know why we went away from rookie sophomores. Like I get in theory why, because the sophomores would always win. But like I thought rookie sophomores was cool. I even thought the world versus the USA was cool. I don't know why we went away from all these things, but like whatever. The 3-point contest, I think at this point is probably the marquee event of honestly probably the whole weekend. At this point. I think the Steph Sabrina thing was dope. It was a good event. It was something that, you know, maybe we can start to see more consistently down the line as you have bigger stars come in. I don't want to say bigger stars, but stars come into W and as far as shooting becomes something that is prioritized more and more and more. The All-Star game wasn't the best. It was better than last year, though. I actually went to the All-Star. I was blessed enough to be able to cover All-Star weekend last year. That All-Star game was terrible. This one, I think, was a little bit better than that one. But, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think we would all like to see the players, at least when it comes to the game, look like they're doing more than just going through the motions. I don't think I saw a full sprint all night, like literally all night. I think, you know, Cat was doing his thing. But even, like, when they had Cat up there, like, oh, he's the third person in All-Star history to score 50 points. Like, it don't even count. Like, look at all the 50-point All-Star performances. They started in 2017. You want to know why? Because for whatever reason, 2017, that's when people decided we don't care. We're just going to let you score and do whatever else. We're just going to run around and, like, shoot threes and dunk. Growing up, I mean, we didn't even see – was there any highlights from yesterday? I mean, I think maybe like, you know, Dame. I mean, I think
there was no dunks.
Yeah,
No
like
oops.
I think Dame and his shooting performance was incredible. Like Halliburton came out and the way he was shooting the ball. I mean, the way these players shoot the ball these days is just incredible. But usually all the highlights that we love to see and the highlights that get replayed, they came in actual game action. Like the reason why when T-Mac threw the ball off the backboard and called it dunked it was so cold because like it was the flow of the game. Or even when like Vince came down in the baseline and did that 360 dunk, flow of the game. Even when AI caught the lob and did whatever the hell he did, flow of the game. Or even I remember I think it was like 2010 when Bron came down and like dunked on the entire Western Conference, flow of the game. I mean, even the Tim Duncan Shaq dunk, flow, not Tim Duncan, David Robinson getting dunked on by Shaq dunk, and I think it was 96, flow of the game. So, you know, some of the highlights that we love to see come when guys are, you know, I mean, obviously they're not going to go out there and play like it's the NBA Finals, but you at least want to see them, you know, getting after it a little bit. We didn't even see anybody, you know, call for any ISOs and take a, you know, one-on-one personal battles. Like, we didn't get any of that. Again, I don't think it was as bad as people say it was, but I'm with Dante. It's the mentality for Ant to come out and say something like that as somebody who we assume is going to be a future quote-unquote face of the league. I think it's kind of disturbing. I don't think you want one of your future marquee players saying something like that. But all in all, I think, you know, Indianapolis put on a great show. I think the presentation of the game was dope. Just even, you know,
the presentation was better than the game.
Just like honoring Indiana's basketball culture. I think the biggest star of the weekend was Tyrese Halliburton. And I think when we talk about faces of the league, I don't know why.
Great.
Like, I don't know why people like. I think as far as outside of maybe Wemby, I don't think we have a better future ambassador for the game of basketball right now than Tyrese Halliburton. I think Tyrese Halliburton is probably, I mean, when you look at future of the league, especially when it comes to American stars, I might have to go Tyrese Halliburton right now. Like, I think that he did a great job. You know, the guy who is the star that comes from that city usually does have a huge burden on them to kind of, you know, I guess get that city out there, and just like they usually have more responsibilities. And I thought Tyrese Halliburton handled it very well.
A couple things before I go to Dante and Bang. One, Courtney's in the chat. She said, okay, but how do we get Jokic and Luka on the same team? I think unless Mark Cuban has no pulse on it, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But Gustavo in the chat said what exactly to say. When so many words, I don't have the exact quote on me, but in so many words, Ant basically said nobody wants to come to All-Star Weekend. You know, that's basically what he was saying. And there was also I think his name is Aaron Jones on Twitter. Let me double check. He had a reason for why he thinks it's not as good. And I think it's as reasonable as you can get, but I still don't want to hear that shit. Here we go. It's Nate Jones. I'm sorry. Nate Jones is he's an agent. He works with Dame Lillard and things like that. He actually tweeted this last year. He said, "You expect guys to play hard after 3, sometimes 4 straight days of appearances, partying late nights. Nope. The more All-Star Weekend became the scene, the less likely became we see competitive All-Star games. Who's tapped out by Sunday?" I get that, but nobody wants to hear that shit. Like, as a fan, I don't want to hear that shit. And, you know, I know I'm going to sound like real. We pay your bills, but you getting paid millions of dollars. I don't want to hear that shit. Like, I just don't want to hear that shit. It comes with a certain. Go ahead.
But, like, we didn't see a full sprint.
That's what I'm saying. We didn't even get a sprint, bro.
I'm not asking you to go out there and play.
I'm not asking you for, like, lockdown defense.
But, like, damn. Like people just walk into the lane. Luka shot a 75-footer. I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to go
the beginning of the game. This motherfucker, Bam Adebayo, blocked the shot, then pulled up for 3 like he's fucking Reggie Miller.
He made it though. I
don't give a damn if he made it. I don't have a problem with it. Not only I want to see that shit. And it's like there's other things about it too. It's just like infuriates me. I told you I'm gonna be real old nigga on the porch today. The celebrity game. And this has more to do with a problem in entertainment today. I'm going to sound like an old nigga with this one. Who the fuck are these celebrities? Like who the fuck are these niggas? When you got Micah Parsons has the bet. Micah Parsons dropped 36 and 17. I saw more effort from Micah Parsons, Puka Nacua, and CJ Stroud than I saw from any of these niggas.
But time out.
Came off 6 months of actually beating niggas' ass.
But they couldn't do shit. Michael Parsons scored 36 and nigga took 31 shots. Like,
I get it. He's a football player though.
Like he was jogging. Like he made sure like
a celebrity game. That's
he wasn't doing shit. No, bro, to take that many shots. But no, I think and Pavy, you said 2017 was the change, and Damian said it in the chat. Kobe retired in 2016. And this leads to my point is part of the reason they don't give a fuck is because there are no more old dogs like to make them care. Like we was talking about before we came on The Last Dance, where Mike was in the locker room talking about Kobe, talking about the All-Star game and how it was going to go. These niggas, like you said, they are fresh off appearances, doing endorsement deals. You know, they got certain activations they got to do for their sponsors. So, like you said, by the time the game come, they're gonna jog up and down. They put on the shooting exhibition. Yeah, they can shoot the lights out. So, I mean, that was cool. But I think overall, and this leads to like my plan. I think what you should do is really revamp All Star Saturday, and you lead off with the dunk contest until you can get the star power back. There's no need to make that the marquee event of All Star Saturday when you got to pull niggas out the G League to fucking participate. So make that the start, and then the Ionescu and Steph shit, that was perfect. That was probably like the most exciting and the most energy you saw in the building. So since 3-point shooting is the marquee thing, you move that into the main slot. As for the skills competition, like we said, do it like back in the day. Bring in the best point guards or the best whoever, it's a new age, so everybody runs point these days. So bring in your best skilled people, and then you bring in the best skilled people from the WNBA. Just like you bring in the best shooters from the WNBA, because I think it shouldn't be limited to just Sabrina. I think next year Caitlin Clark could be there. Kelsey Plum likes to kick it, but if she wants to participate, you put her out there. And like since the WNBA is a subsidiary of the NBA, this gives you an opportunity to put more eyes on the WNBA and those stars, which can help them get more publicity and get more bread. But I think you gotta really make Saturday night like that is your All-Star. Cancel the game 100%. And then you move the in-season tournament championship, move it to that Sunday. Neutral site. You know what I'm saying? If you got to get the tickets away, get the tickets away. I know people talk about, getting people to fly in and do all that other shit. But no. At the end of the day, if the game is going to continually get worse, which it is, it's only going to get worse. I think you just move it. Like, just get rid of it. It's no point of doing it if it's going to just sit there and be a glorified shoot around. Because, like, it should be the same energy you get from the Drew League, from those summer runs where guys are out there going at each other. But you don't get that. You just get a bunch of niggas going, like I said, shooting threes. And it was great. It was a great this nigga Orlando. It was a great it was a
First of all, I don't want to cut you off, Dante. I want to give Bane the floor. I just want to say this, a couple things. First of all, Kenny Smith was wild. Okay, like
he was man.
Reggie was trying to give him out, so he just kept going. Like, bro, stop. Kitty,
he
stop.
did everything but say, "Get your ass back in the kitchen."
Yeah.
He did everything. I say this about the Sabrina Steph thing. I want to say this in the most unproblematic way ever. I'm looking at the camera when I'm saying this. This I thought from an event perspective, it was great. If we just talk about the actual event, it was great. And I think it needs to happen more. It's the only event on All-Star Saturday that I actually watched. And I thought that she gave Steph hell of a go. Steph only won by 2-3 points. But I think for respect out of the women athletes, it needs to be more. We're praising their actual ability and giving them the credit they deserve instead of just, hey, look, they can do the same thing men do. To me, it's disrespect to what they're actually doing. That's the problem I had. And it wasn't just me. I saw multiple people in women in media spaces saying the same thing that I'm saying. I felt like it was more of a, hey, look, they can do this, and putting the whole shoulder of women hoops on her back, which I felt was unfair.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of Captain Marvel vibes, my nigga. Like
it 100% was.
Yes, but any situation when you drag them out there with the men is gonna turn into that, bro. Like, I'm sorry, it just is.
But they don't have to do that. People, the broadcasters don't have to do that.
Yes,
fans might treat it that way. Broadcasters don't have to do
that.
Nike
dropped the ad right when it was, if you can shoot, you can shoot. Like,
they
played into it off the rip.
That's what it's gonna turn into every time is women versus men in any competitive thing. Unfortunately, it's gonna turn into that. The broadcast is a whole nother completely separate, different thing. That like is I don't even Kenny probably ain't watching NBA game. Kenny don't watch NBA games. Kenny said I didn't know Halliburton could shoot like that. What? What? You didn't know he could do
highest scoring offense in the NBA.
You didn't know he could shoot? What? All right, bro. You got it, dog.
He just be running knock needed to the screen and shit.
It's like this, bro. Like, it really felt like when your little cousin or your son or your daughter do something like, look at you. He picked up the remote. Like, that's how it felt. And if I was a WNBA player, I'd be disrespected. Like, what the fuck? You goddamn right I can do this. Like, that, I just didn't like the coverage of it. But we ran a long time. Bang, the floor is yours.
Oh, man. Where do I start? Pav, I understand that you said that that it was bad, but it wasn't that bad. But the way that you explained it sounded terrible. Like it sounded like the night.
Yeah, it made it worse, bad. It made it
Just want to
terrible.
let you. I want to let
Cancer
you know.
ain't that bad. You can die
like,
if you don't treat it.
You're like, man, it wasn't that bad, but then you went through like some terrible ass shit. I was sitting there like, well, it sounds bad to me. Let's start with Friday, right? If y'all got to get some better celebrities. Hey, I don't. Matter of fact, if I'm Chris Brown, yeah, I'm mad. All right, because if y'all really invited me just to be like, nah, like Chris Brown would have been MVP with everybody who played. Like Michael Parsons, like I think he shot the ball 31 times. Like for real, this is what we own. Like that was terrible in itself. Saturday, the dunking contest needs to be first. Right, and here's the thing, I think it was somebody on there. Yeah, Orlando. Orlando, you've been cooking today too. Let me just say this. You've been cooking in the chat today. But I agree. Bron indirectly ruined the contest. But I'll go further. Indirectly. I'm not saying that this was meant to be on purpose. Stephen A. Smith said it was on purpose today. It's like, all right, fam, you're going too hard here. But I think indirectly, LeBron James messed up All-Star weekend and the All-Star game. And let me say this again, indirectly, I am not shooting or stabbing or doing anything with LeBron James's legacy. But I believe that the start of the Stars not really being that involved in All-Star weekend starts with him not doing the dunking contest. Like the dunking contest is a rite of passage. The three-point contest, not necessarily, because that was really like the bench players who shoot the three off the bench, really getting their love and getting it in. Like, it was like, okay, this nigga that's on the bench, he's the three-point champion. Shouts out to Tim Legler, or shouts out to Craig Hodges and stuff like that. As the three-point shot really becomes big, that's when you see the stars get in. But on the flip side, that's when you see the stars get out of the dunking contest. Because LeBron James said he's not going to do it. So if LeBron James is not going to do it, you start seeing the stars dwindle out of not only the dunking contest, but some of the other big events as well. Again, it used to be a rite of passage. Let's even skip Michael Jordan and all of those people. Like Dr. J was in the dunking contest. Larry Nance was in the dunking contest. Clyde Drexler was in the dunking contest. It wasn't just the random ass rookie or the random ass dude on the bench that was in the dunking contest. Like, you go look at the 80s and even the 70s, and you see stars in these events. So when LeBron James decided that he's not going to do it, now it's, put $1 million up and then I'll do it and stuff like that. But it used to be a rite of passage. Even when Kobe didn't jump into the dunking contest. But then when he finally did it, it was like, oh shit, Kobe up in this joint. Hell yeah. Vince Carter. Oh shit. He's the best in-game dunker we've ever seen. And yeah, it was some hit or misses between that. But when LeBron James officially was like, nah, I'm straight, it really became, I'm straight for everything and everybody. And when it comes to the All-Star game too, I think that the best All-Star game in quite some time was that game where LeBron James didn't take the shot. But I also believe that did it a disservice for everything else. Because I think at that point, LeBron and the LeBron apologists was like, yo, why are y'all taking this game so seriously? It's just an All-Star game. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody came down. Like, y'all got to remember, everybody came down on LeBron James for not taking the final shot in an All-Star game, which we all came down and we all agreed. But I think from that moment on, it was like, yo, why are we playing so hard for an All-Star game? And that's why I say indirectly. It's not something that he did on purpose. It was not something that he planned. This was not a Clutch Sports design thing to take down the All-Star game and stuff like that. But I think some of those things that were done indirectly killed what we saw from the All-Star game. Like, let's just take it to the 90s and early 2000s, even going to that moment. The first half was for play. And it was something interesting that we had said. I don't remember an alley-oop, a real true alley-oop being thrown. I saw some attempts, but it was not even any showboating. Like, even if you go to the 90s and early 2000s, just starting in that era right there, because that's the era we grew up in. Because I know somebody's going to be like, yeah, they wasn't doing this in the 90s. Nah, yes, the fuck they were. Isaiah Thomas would go throw a oop to Michael Jordan. He'd throw an oop to
he
Mike.
hate that nigga.
Yeah, he ain't that nigga, but niggas was throwing oops to Mike. Niggas was throwing oops to Shaq. Shaq was backing people up and doing fadeaways and all that shit. The first half was meant for let's get the shits off. Halfway into the third quarter, into the fourth, all right, y'all, we playing for real now. Now we playing for real. Let's go ahead and get to it. And that's what I was kind of hoping yesterday. Because when the East got off to that big lead, y'all got to remember in the beginning of the game, they was like, oh man, the length of the West is, I don't know how the East is going to do it. Then next thing you know, the East was up 20.
Yep.
So I'm thinking like, all right, maybe in like the third quarter, somebody's going to be like, all right, make this shit close. Hell no. They were just like, yo, let's just throw some shit up. Game over. So anybody that says anything about the competitive nature to the game, that halfway in the third quarter to the fourth quarter, shit got real. Shit got, all right, we about to go play. We're about to play for real, and then we'll see what happens. And we did not even get that. So for, what was his name? Nate Jones. For Nate Jones to say, oh, they was doing all of this and all of that stuff. That's why you play in the third and the fourth quarter. We're going to play around and try to do some highlights and all of that shit. But then once the second half comes, all right, man, we're about to play for real. And I think that's the disappointing part about Sunday, is that we never seen any type of competitive nature pop out, especially after the East was up by 20. Because once that was if you gonna tell me we gonna stop playing after they went up by 20, then it was literally no reason for us to watch the game if you was going to stop playing. Basically, it was like live or 2K. Hey man, we dubbed, so pass the controller. All right, we just go play around with until, blah, 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 blah. But Saturday, and I agree with y'all points about, Sabrina and Steph Curry. They definitely played her like the Make-A-Wish kid.
Yeah.
Like y'all seriously, for real, like y'all know what she do. But also when it comes to like the skills challenge and all of that stuff, I don't even remember when they took the team WNBA out of the skills challenge. Like, I remember them having the team WNBA in the skills challenge, or a woman from a team being one of the people on the skills challenge. Like, so, and then the dunking contest. For every Michael Jordan, Dominique Wilkins, there's a Spud Webb and a Kenny Skywalker who were bench players and known players, but they wasn't like everyday stars. They became a star once they won the dunking contest. Harold Miner became a star. He became Baby Jordan once he won the dunking contest. Brent Barry became a star once he won the dunking contest. I mean, there's like Desmond, what's his name?
Zach Levine,
Desmond Mason.
Yeah, Desmond Mason. Yeah, like
Jason Richardson.
Yeah, it's like it.
Don't
There
do
is
this,
some
Jason
of
Richardson. Jason Richardson was dead ass good.
Jason Richardson was better than motherfucking Desmond Mason.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I mean, there is those players, but those players became stars because they out-dunked the star that was in the joint. So it's a lot to go into what makes this weekend, what made this All-Star weekend to me terrible. But it's a lot of work that Adam Silver and the NBA is going to have to do to look at how to fix this, because especially when you put these in smaller markets like Indianapolis, like, I've been to Indianapolis. There's not a lot of stuff to do outside
Broad River. Go back again.
Yeah, so especially when you put them in markets like that, you got to have your star power do their thing. And LeBron James saying what he said at the end of the night at the press conference, maybe that might make a difference. But now we're also at a point where LeBron James is the old nigga.
Shit, so, LeBron didn't even do the, how they used to do the, what I used to like when I was a kid and teenager, the all-star practices where they'll come out, do the horse shot and shit like that, and everybody do the interviews. Bron didn't do that shit, and I'm not blaming Bron 100%. Hold on, let me hold on. And he had his own shit on Sunday before.
I just want to say, Bron has an ankle issue. Like, he literally might not play on Thursday. So
no, I get that.
Bron, he actually might not.
What they got to do with shooting?
He barely got off the floor with that. One dunk. He barely got up.
Barely got up.
Because the show came down like ooh.
But
he didn't play the second half. I'm not saying he's not hurt, but you can't throw some bullshit shots in practice.
If I could just say this about the dunk contest, I don't think it was as bad as people
No.
think it was.
No.
Hold on. The issue was
I agree with you.
Jaylen Brown was historically horrible.
Bad.
Jaylen Brown had one of the worst dunk contests. He jumped over Kai Cenat in a chair. Didn't windmill. No, missed. Didn't windmill. Didn't do nothing. Just caught it and dunked. Jaylen Brown had one of the worst
and then came down and then he did the D Brown.
What the fuck is that?
He did the Chris Carter. This is called bapping.
Jaylen Brown had one of the worst performances, and also the judges did a lot to take away from the contest. Even like Matt McClung's
it's ass. What you we supposed to be giving niggas?
No. Some of them scores was wrong.
Jaime should. Hey, that was racism. The reason why he didn't make it to the finals was pure racism. I don't give a damn what y'all say. When that man,
Toppin had the best dunk.
It don't look. It don't matter. Look at the end of the day. It don't matter if it was Toppin or Jacob. It was racism involved for him not to have a higher score. When he put all of the Mexicans that ever played in the NBA on the damn LED screen on the court, like when I saw Eduardo Najera, I said that they are not going to give him the correct score. That is racism. All right. If I am a Mexican who loves the NBA, I am crying racism to Fred Jones. Whoever was that old ass Indiana Pacer who was in the dunking contest in like 1976 that gave that low ass score, that was racism, fam. They saw the Mexicans on the court and they was like, "Who the fuck is these dudes right here?" No, we not giving them no proper score. Fuck that shit right there.
And who made Kenny Smith the orator of the goddamn dunk contest?
The Let's Go Home. Like he been trying to recreate that moment since the Let's Go Home.
Then he tried to tell Reggie Miller about shooting. The fuck?
Yeah, shut up.
That man was lit. That's
again. The dunk contest this year was not as bad as it will go down in being. I think the judges messed it up. For one, they took away from the dunks. Like even Matt McClung's first dunk, it's a 50, bro. He dropped the ball mid-air. You've never seen that in the dunk contest. He dropped the ball mid-air and dunked it. Obi Toppin's brother did a fucking spinning East Bay. And they gave him a 47. And honestly, I think the NBA put the word in, we want Jaylen Brown in like the finals. And that's why Jaylen Brown ended up in the finals.
Why though? Okay.
Because the star power.
I'm just saying, what star power does Jaylen Brown have?
Jaylen Brown is the most paid player in NBA history. Let's also remember this. He's the highest paid player in the history of the fucking league.
At the end of the day, if Jaylen Brown. Hold on. If Jaylen Brown and Mac McClung do the same dunk, it's gonna get a bigger reaction if Jaylen Brown does the dunk. Like that. That's what's killing the dunk contest. Is you don't have Mike versus Meek. You don't have stars in that bitch. Even when you had Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, they was going the fuck off. And now you have nobody. Like I said, you pulling niggas from the G League. I didn't know Obi Toppin had a brother to that. I
had no idea. I'm like, yo, Obi got a brother that plays on the Knicks.
On the Knicks?
When did he get there?
Exactly. So like it's the lack of star power that's like the dunk contest. It damn near needs to go, bro. Like
it don't need to go, bro.
I'm just saying even though he's a good player, when you're in a dunking contest, like it's like Ray Allen was in the dunking contest at one point. Like you Ray Allen, but you don't need to be here, nigga. Like go shoot a 3. All right, go be in the skills competition. Don't try to
get busy though.
Again.
I know, but he's not. It's a aura and a swag, like y'all said. It's an aura and a swag to a player that's supposed to be in the dunking contest. Jaylen Brown don't exude that. He don't exude
you gotta perform. It's also like how you make the dunks look. For instance,
right.
Like the Toppin dunk. I think the reason why he didn't get a higher score was it didn't look cool. He didn't look graceful in the air. You know what I'm saying? Like Zach LaVine, when he did, like the shit just looked so fucking graceful. It's like, oh my God, what is this? Even Aaron Gordon, like playing to the crowd. But again, I don't think the dunk contest was that bad. I don't think it needs to go. I just think we had a situation. Real quick. I just think we had a situation in which Jaylen Brown had that was an all-time horrible performance. Like that was an all-time bad.
Was Jaylen Brown or Nate Robinson? Which one was the worst?
Jaylen Brown by far.
Jaylen Brown by far.
Because Nate here's what I'm saying. Here's why I said that. Because Nate Robinson missed more dunks, and I think he got on more people's nerves but there's a swag in the aura about Nate. Right,
He
but
was
there's
trying some difficult shit though. G.
that's what I'm saying. It's a swag in the aura
Jaylen
with
Brown
Nate
jumped over
Robinson.
Tyson.
There's no swag or no aura with Jaylen Brown. Like it's just
Also, I
like
think niggas don't like Jaylen
throw him a
Brown.
lob to jump over Kyson Net sitting in a chair. He didn't even
He's
jump
5'4".
over a
He's 5'4".
Also, look, do you think the average NBA consumer knows who Kai Cenat is?
Yes, I don't think you do because you're
Yeah.
old. Yes.
No, I
You're
just
wild.
knew. I just found out a couple months ago.
Damn,
I'm
nigga,
saying
I'm
the
older
average
than
mother.
him.
Yes.
Yeah, like
they
the
know.
I
They
know
know
who that nigga is.
Yes. I think the average kid who's consuming the NBA knows who Kyson Net is.
But also that kid is like, yo, this nigga's my height. So why are you
right,
dunking
exactly.
over him?
It's not
That
impressive.
too. Yes.
Now I'll say this.
And oh my bad. Just one more thing. Because Bang, I wanted to get you back from when you said about the shot. The reason why that was a big moment that Bron didn't take the shot was because that was the era in which Bron was either missing game winners.
Yeah,
or
no,
wasn't
I
making
agree.
shit.
No, I agree. That's my whole point. It's like, yo, we putting all of this pressure on an all-star game. I think there was a lot of people in the NBA at that time that are LeBron James fans or stans, and even fans was like, yo, why are we putting all this pressure on LeBron James in an all-star game? When we all understand what's the point here, but I think that a lot of people was like, man, we ain't about to go through all this pressure for a
Them the
motherfucking
same
all-star
niggas
game.
who like use the term ring culture, which I fucking hate to death.
Right.
And
So
the
yeah,
point
I
of the
agree with you,
fucking game
man.
is to
Yeah.
win. But here's the thing. Now, we're gonna move on to the second half preview. But I was want to say about what I wanted to say. Pav sound like me when I'm like talking about a bad Marvel movie or a bad show. I'm gonna find something to like about it. Like I think Secret Invasion was horrible. Then I rewatched this after this weekend. I'm like, you know what? I liked where they were trying to go. Well, if they'd have did this, it would have been better. He like me when I break down a bad Jay-Z album. That's what you're doing. I'm like, well, you know, compared to other niggas, it's better. Which it was bad. It was just bad. It's never gonna go nowhere, and it's gonna get worse and worse. But it was bad. It was bad. But let's move on to the second half, or the unofficial second half, because there's only 25 games left any fucking way. Pav, what's some things that you're gonna be checking for in these next 2.5 months? I mean, not two, but like a month and a half of the season for the playoffs start.
For one, I think the Warriors is on one thing. I think quietly the Warriors did go on like a 5 or 6 game win streak before they lost their last game. Forget who they lost to, but they did go on like a 5 or 6 game win streak. So I think, you know, the Warriors, obviously they can get back, get healthy, and Draymond is engaged. Also, again, with the way, was that Richard Jefferson who said that shit?
What did Richard
on
Jefferson do?
on the broadcast, but he was like, maybe they needed the
hold on. Yo, I forgot about that. Nigga, what the fuck was the shit this week? This nigga said, rest in peace to the coach that died for the Warriors. This nigga said they needed that as a push. I get what he was trying to say.
Horribly.
No.
I'll say it.
Man dying for a push to make the play in.
I'll say it like this. I think the Warriors have something to play for that is now bigger than them, that can hopefully bring them together. And again, if you know, I'm one of those top teams, like if I'm OKC or if I'm, you know, the Timberwolves, or if I'm who was at the top, the Nuggets, any of those teams, especially those like younger teams that I named, like the Timberwolves and like the Thunder, you work hard all year, and your first round matchup may be the Mavericks, it may be the Warriors, it may be the Lakers. Like, you just worked hard all year for your first round matchup to be one of those guys. So I think the Warriors, I think the Mavericks as well, you know, picking up Daniel Gafford and picking up PJ Washington. And Lively, they actually have a big man rotation now to pair with Luka, so Luka can, you know, bring his like lob threat frequency back to the Mavericks. So I think that's one thing to watch. Also, again, Tyrese Halliburton and the rest of the Pacers. I think the Pacers are a team great. I don't expect them to you know, make the finals or anything, but I think they can be a really, really good story and be something that springboards them for the future. And they be one of those, you know, classic Indiana teams. Like, I think when the Pacers are good at basketball, it's good for basketball. And I think that Tyrese can be a guy that can be in that market for the next 15 years and end up being maybe the best Pacer in franchise history.
Why the Indiana Pacers is good for the NBA being good?
Because I think that they're a small market team, but they are a market that really cares about basketball. So I think that it's good. And I think that it's good when you have those smaller teams and those markets that, you know, embody the city, but also when those markets really care about the game of basketball. So I think that that's something to watch. And obviously Doc Rivers and the Bucks. I think that's a huge thing to watch. I mean, I guess they 3-6 since the man came over.
3-7.
So 3-7 since the man came over. So I think that's a huge thing to watch. And then also
Did you see what Shaq told Dame yesterday? And he had Dame looking like a little nigga.
No,
he's like, yo, y'all niggas too nice. Like, y'all need to have some bark. Like, smack somebody upside the fucking head. Like, and then Dame was like, I hear you. Like, if I'd have told Dame like that, Dame, he like, man, shut your fat ass up. But like, because it's Shaq, it's like, I can't say nothing to Shaq. You know what I'm saying?
It's real quick, not to cut you off, but just hypothetic Doc Rivers is. This man, they asked Doc Rivers, he said, I asked him if I could start after the All-Star break. Because we had this tough stretch of games coming up.
Doc Rivers is
Get
the most
this nigga off the sidelines, bro. Get him out of here.
I quote, I wouldn't wish this on anybody. $40 million in the middle of the year? That sounds like heaven, nigga.
The man said, I wouldn't wish coming in with your team going against in this little bank of games. I wouldn't wish this on anybody. You got to be kidding me.
What the fuck? Well, anyway, so that, and then last but not least, I think this final MVP race, I think it'd be very interesting. I mean, like with the Clippers, what they're doing, I think Kawhi has to get his name mentioned. Shea, may possibly win and get his name mentioned. Tatum, I mean, Draymond even made like a great point about Tatum. They are like Boston does have the best record in basketball right now. We just completely don't even mention Jason. He don't even be on ballots. So I think
he shouldn't be on the ballot because Jason Tatum should be on the fucking ballot, man. So I don't even started on Jason Tatum. My bad.
So again, I think that those are my the biggest things for me to watch as the season draws to a close and we get to the playoffs.
What I want is some games that actually get I need some shit to get me entertained, bro. Like the NFL is a wrap. Like, you know how bad it is that I'm like itching for the NFL combine, like it's an actual game to be played.
I was watching the HBCU combine today, nigga.
This nigga Bang put in the group chat. I'm watching the motherfucking HBCU. First of all, I didn't know HBCUs had a combine, number one.
That's crazy.
This nigga is football starved. Okay.
That's crazy.
I'm watching a nigga from Arkansas Pine Bluff.
I didn't know.
Nigga,
when I was putting the rundown this morning, I was just trying to
They were not in the park, nigga. Don't do this.
They look like it was in the park. Did you watch it, nigga? Did you watch a little bit of it, Dante? Them niggas look like they was at the Folly Park, nigga.
HBCU. Did you watch it today, nigga?
Them niggas look like they was at Columbus Park, G. Let's
no. Them niggas at Marquette Park.
Set up. Hey, yo, set up. We're going to do it right here. Don't even worry about that permit. We're going to do it right here.
I'm going to set them phones up real
quick. See Orlando? Like, that nigga from Tuskegee you looks like a guy.
Hey, bro, that's how bad it was. Like, this is why there's blood on Adam Silver's hand. I'm scrolling all my sports feeds, G. I'm like, all right, what football can we discuss? I almost put, is Jimmy Garoppolo ever going to be a starting quarterback again on this rundown? That's how dark it got. Yeah. Like, that's how I got it. So I want to see games that matter. Like, I was looking forward to Lakers Warriors again. We find out LeBron might even play. Now, it's not LeBron's fault. LeBron actually is hurt. But give me something to watch. Like, for the love of God. And I actually got to give love to the NBA TNT team this week. They tried so hard to make us give a fuck. Like, they tried so hard. And it just did not work. So one question I got for you, Pav. Is there anything, what are you expecting from the Lakers in the second half? Because I know that's a mandatory question. We got to talk about the Lakers. What did you have to, because what do you think about what Kendra Perkins said, that there's another star coming in the offseason? And then Shams even said that Trae Young might be somebody the Lakers might try to get.
Good for them, bro. I guess, bro. Like, good. I mean, do we know? Like, if Trae Young comes to the Lakers next season, it'd be cool. I mean, like, they got a live threat or whatever. He ain't gonna play no damn defense, so AD better go win Defensive Player of the Year. But they got a live threat or whatever. Like, yeah, it'd be cool, good for them. But I expect the Lakers to play 500 basketball the rest of the way. Because they're about a 500 basketball team. That's what I expect.
But when they get in the playoffs, do you think they can make any noise? Like, what is a good season for a Laker fan? What is a good season for the Lakers?
I mean, second round, maybe if everything goes completely the best it possibly can. I mean, again, like I said, if you look at the top of the conference, as it stands right now, it's Minnesota and it's the Thunder, right? And if you look at the 9 and the 8th, It's the Warriors and it's the Lakers. And I think Dallas is in there as well, and Phoenix might slide down there as well, as far as that little like last 4 teams. Like, you may win 55 games, and your reward in the first round may be playing LeBron James, Anthony Davis, or Steph Curry, Clay, and Draymond Green. So, yes, I mean, I think that if the Lakers can get into a series with the Thunder, I think that we can get into a playoff series. Obviously, LeBron James has played basketball 21 years. He has forgot more basketball than most people will ever know. So you get into a playoff series, you know, you're not playing every day. You're not playing back-to-backs. You watching film. I think that's when, you know, obviously the mind of LeBron can really, really shine. And, you know, you can get his, and he can get his team, you know, ready to play basketball. So, I mean, yeah, like if they can get in the play-in and win in the first of all, they would have to win in the play-in. There is no
who they be playing in the play-in right now?
Right now they would be playing the Warriors in the first game, and then they would be they will play the loser of the 7-8. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess they can get to like the second round, but I mean,
wouldn't it be funny them niggas lost to like Utah?
That could happen. No, they could really use Luka.
No, they could. That's why it'd be
lose
funny
to
as hell. Imagine Laurie got like 35. Chris Dunn,
all of that can happen.
Chris Dunn, who I didn't know wasn't working at Trader Joe's, has 15-8. Like that would be funny as shit. That would be funny as shit.
All of that can happen. So I mean, yes, I guess they get to the second round, but like, so like I don't really. It's whatever, bro.
Before we send Bang to the bench and bring Courtney off the bench for our baseball segment, Pav, you've got some new music dropping tonight at midnight on the East Coast or at 9 p.m. on the West Coast. Man, tell us about your new single, FaceTime is Dangerous. And I agree with the title. Tell us what the song is about.
Yeah, so I have a new record coming out called FaceTime is Dangerous, basically about the potential dangers of being on FaceTime and drunk FaceTime and things like that. Basically, the record is really about shout out my homie DJ Night Train. This was New Year's Eve, the last New Year's Eve, not this previous one, but I was in Miami. And if anybody's ever partied in Miami, you know, partying in Miami can lead to like 7 a.m. night. So basically, I was dead the whole next day.
Mike used to give us stories.
Yeah, so basically, I was dead the whole next day of New Year's. So what happened was I ended up on FaceTime for like 6-7 hours. Literally like 6-7 hours drinking Casamigos, and yeah, that's what that record is about. So everything I say in the record is basically what happened in that conversation. But again, I hope you guys like the record. Like Scott said, it'll be out at 9 p.m. tonight. You can find it on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you like to stream music at. Yeah, make sure you guys check that out.
And the video will be out.
And the video will be out as well. The record and the video will be out as well. So make sure you guys check that out.
Shot by TPJ. That's a good video on there, man. Pav, thank you for joining us as usual. I'm gonna have you on an episode of Cousin Dan coming up. I got Mike on this week's edition. That's gonna be funny as well. So I'm gonna do one where it's all of a sudden. Go ahead, Dante.
I'm gonna say real quick before you go, Pavy, just to clear the air. The HBCU Combine was at the Oshner Sports Performance Center.
Yeah, how long did it take you to Google that? How long did it take to Google that?
You Sports Illustrated, brother. It was real quick. I was waiting. I had to let everybody get their shit off, you know. And I had to wait because normally it said Morehouse, and like I feel ain't the best. So
outside of that complex looked like a school, high school field. Inside of that motherfucker, it was nice. But inside of it was nice. But outside of it, that shit like Columbus Park, fam.
Oh man, Pat, we appreciate you, bro. We're gonna have you back on here next week,
my man.
So we are going to Bang's gonna be brought to the bench, and we're gonna bring Courtney on. Bang will be back in just a minute as we talk baseball. Courtney, what is going on?
What's going on? Bang don't want to talk ball? That's crazy.
Well, you know, Bang,
hold on. I don't know shit about what y'all talking about. You be throwing shit up in the damn chat about like
this is the perfect some time of these. To learn.
I'll learn from the back end.
Listen,
I don't know nothing about these Dominican dudes you be talking about up in the chat. Like who is Elmer Ramirez? I don't know this nigga.
We're up here trying to just educate the people about, in my opinion, what is the greatest sport in the world, and that's baseball.
Well, Courtney, the floor is yours. What you got for us this week?
Yeah, so before we get too much really deep into the nitty-gritty of baseball, it's probably important for us to talk about what the guys are going to be wearing on the field, right? And there's been a lot of controversy. I see Dante shaking his head already. There's been a lot of controversy about these new Nike uniforms. And I know we talked about it a little bit this morning too, Scott, because Nike and Fanatics, the new distributor of the Nike jerseys, dropped 3 different variations of the uniforms. And to say that opinions are split would be an understatement. So, of course, you've got some guys talking about the uniforms. And, of course, they're all Nike athletes saying good things about the uniforms. But otherwise, you have a lot of guys who have gone, off the record so they can say the things that they want to say that the uniforms are absolutely trash. I know better when Nike is saying that they made these uniforms. They're called the Vapor Premier Elite jerseys, and they made them out of recycled polyester and other sustainable materials in order to reduce, the amount of bad materials they're putting into the environment, blah, blah, blah. I'm not buying it. It's all cost cutting measures. They're heat stamping the letters. And that's not a good look. Also, not to mention that the price of the jerseys has gone up as well, which is crazy. Dante, have you had a chance to check out the unis?
Hey, before we go, Dante, I just want to say this. You know what this reminds me of? I don't know if anybody, I don't know. I know y'all probably don't watch Seinfeld. The episode of Seinfeld where George worked for the Yankees and they moved the jerseys to cotton and it was fucking shit up on the field. That's what this new jersey shit reminds me of. But go ahead.
No, I have got a chance to look at them, and they're awful. Like it reminds me of like back in the day when you were trying to be cheap and you go buy a Kids XL, and then the name on the back of the jersey be the little as hell. The name was little as hell. Jerseys. Oh my
and it's
God,
so
bro.
weird. If you look at some of the guys and their names on the jerseys. So before, the names would just kind of go straight across, and if their names were like a little bit longer, they would have no choice but to kind of curve it. But now it's the curvature is so extreme. Like if a guy's in a windup or something, you're missing like 4 letters on this side. I just can't wait. I know it's, pitchers and catchers have primarily reported. But, I can't wait until there's a guy like Edwin Encarnacion Strand. I want to see what that looks like on the back of this freaking jersey, because what's it going to look like? What's jersey? What's the name on the back of that jersey going to look like?
The fact that Josiah Gray's jersey looks fucking horrible, and there are 4 letters in his last name.
4 letters.
Like it's a joke, bro. But it's Fanatics. We talk about all these mergers, and people were talking about Fanatics having a monopoly, and they're gonna do the NHL jerseys next year, and they're gonna be just as terrible. So I mean, we talk about
deny that at the moment.
We talk about our boy Rob, but yeah, man, this was not one of the best moves he's made.
Yeah, and it's important to note that the jerseys, again, I'm into fashion, so I understand how much work goes into just making any kind of clothing garment, right? It takes a lot more effort to stitch something, whether it's an embroider something, than it does to screen print it. So this whole, the jerseys are going to look, and when you look at the two side by side, last year's jerseys versus this one, you can clearly see a downgrade in the quality of the jersey. And the fact that they're now $40 more expensive is just, it blows my mind. But, peak Michael Rubin energy. Yeah. Moving on, we were going to talk about, I really want to get into the Oakland Athletics, because this is a story that's kind of we're on a bit of a time crunch with the A's right now. Primarily because it is 2024. They are trying to be in a new ballpark by 2028. They need to have the Major League Baseball schedule. They need to know where they're going to be playing by July. So there's a lot of moving parts there. And Dante, I know you said it last week when you said, don't put it past them to kind of fumble the bag really and end up somewhere else. But in my opinion, that's kind of what it's looking like. As far as for 2025 and 2027, there's a few different places that they want them, that they're exploring to kind of play, including going back to the Coliseum. But if they go back to the Coliseum to play, that's just such a bad.
It looks terrible.
It's a
Yeah.
terrible look for the organization. And now Oakland has all of the power. They can
Yep.
set the terms, you know? Why would you? It's almost like it's a very amateur move if you go to like Las Vegas has already said they don't want them playing in the AAA ballpark out in Summerlin. They said that they don't want that being Oakland's first, emergence into the market, which I totally understand. And I agree that that makes sense. But it kind of reminds me of like the Arizona Coyotes, how they couldn't get their deal on a stadium done. So, temporarily they've moved into Mullet Arena, which is the home of Arizona State Sun Devils hockey program. It's so amateurish, y'all. I can't even. It's an embarrassment.
Which
right
which
now,
way do you think? Which way you think is favoring right now? Like which way you think it'll go?
Yeah, so Jeff Passan was on Pardon the Interruption, and he said that right now it's most likely looking that they're going to be going back to playing in the Coliseum. But they also have Sutter Health Ballpark, which is the AAA affiliate, the Sacramento River Cats for the Giants, that they might play from 2025, 2026, and 2027 until the new ballpark is completed in Vegas. But they don't have any, like Vegas doesn't have any of the financials or even the ballpark rendering, which was supposed to be due in December, but it's February, and the officials in Las Vegas have not received that yet. So it's a lot of shrugging our shoulders in Oakland / Salt Lake / Sacramento / Las Vegas.
Yeah,
Dante,
it's
what's your
ugly.
take on it? Go ahead, my bad.
It's ugly, bro. Because I really think John Fisher, like, he tried to pull a power move, and he's really, fumbled this in every step. And even with, he sat there and tried to leverage play him and Manfred, saying, well, the city of Oakland wasn't negotiating in good faith, and then the mayor drops a 90-page proposal. He said, no, we gave him the land, we gave him everything he wanted. He just didn't want to spend the money. And so it's looking more and more likely that they will be back in Oakland. Because, like I said, I know the government in Utah, they were setting up to, pretty much get them a presentation to show them that, hey, Salt Lake City, we got space for a ballpark. We've been looking to get into this space. I know Russell Wilson and his group were trying to put a team up in Portland. So you still have options for Major League Baseball to expand, because they will expand in the West. But the Vegas thing is looking more and more shaky, because, bro, when you don't even have renderings, and then for anybody that goes to Vegas, like I said, I go to Vegas 3 or 4 times a year. So, like, if you go to where the Tropicana sits, and then you see what they're trying to do, it's no way in hell. Like, unless you do literally a boutique ballpark that probably sits 22,000 people, if that's something really tiny to fit on that space, it's going to be nuts, bro. So, I mean, at this point, I think he's backed himself into a corner. And then with there being so many stipulations on, he can't sell any part of the team while he's in Vegas, or he gets heavily taxed on it. So you won't see him make the money off that. So, like, there's less incentive for him to do that, to try to get a stadium done. So it's really like he shot himself in the foot. And hopefully, I know Oakland fans are probably hoping that it gets to the point where the family that owns the Warriors, they come up and say, hey, he said it like a couple months ago, my offer still stands to buy the team from you.
Well, I got a question, Dante. You brought that up. So what do you think it'll take for them to get to that, to reach back out the leg up, since they didn't want him involved to begin with?
That's just John Fisher. Like, this is just a rich guy. I have this asset, it's mine. Fuck you. I don't have to sell it because I don't want to. Like, a lot of people probably want him to sell it, but when you own it, that's a very small club, and he's a member of it, and he doesn't have to move. But that offer has been on the table for years, and like I said, he passed up equity in the Warriors before they won championships, so he would have made even more money had he already done the deal and just gave them a part of the A's, and they would have had a stadium. But it's just him being stubborn. So I think it would take the league reaching out and saying, hey, look, if you can't get this done in Vegas, either get a deal done in Oakland or sell the team to him, because they know he has the money and they know he has the financials. They saw what he just did with the Chase Center. He can make all of this work if he wants to. So I think that's what it would take if they fumble this and end up back in Oakland, and the league, like Manfred, would have to tell him, hey, you know what? If you can't do this, you got to go.
I think, and also, yeah, speaking of Manfred, I guarantee you there's some phone calls going on because you're fucking up that man's going away present. This would have been the stamp on the last thing that he did if he was being honest about it being his last, term as commissioner. You're fucking up my image because that's supposed to be part of my legacy is that I relocated a baseball team, and maybe if Nashville or Salt Lake City gets an expansion team. But now, in my opinion, I don't really think I think Vegas would be better off as a city if they got an expansion team over having to deal with all of the baggage that comes along with that specific organization. The A's, man, y'all go ahead and just make something shake with that Howard Terminal lot because it's already setting up itself up for failure.
There's two ways I kind of look at it. One is it's a bad. I feel like this whole thing in general has been a bad look. I really feel bad for Oakland sports fans. They didn't have the Golden State Warriors be taken away. They didn't have the Raiders get taken away, and now the A's are getting taken away. But I kind of understand too. Like if they do, let's just say they do somehow find a way to keep the team in Oakland. What's it gonna take for Is there any way that the ownership are gonna actually try to make this team better? Because I think you're going to have the same problem. Even if you do build a new stadium somehow out there, if there's not a good product, they're not going to be there. Do you think I'm off base on that? Or do you think it has a lot to do with just the arena, the state, the ballpark?
And that's the problem with all of these very incredibly lucrative television deals is that there's not necessarily an emphasis for these guys to field competitive teams. They don't have to because they still make money. Now, there was a point when gate receipts were accounting for, 40% of revenue, but now you got all this TV money. And now they get the unfortunately get to benefit, even though they aren't, good, they get to benefit from that shared revenue pooling that they have with Major League Baseball. And it's so unfortunate because they don't have to field a competitive team. He doesn't have to do that. He still gets paid, and it's trash.
And who brought revenue sharing into Major League Baseball? The great Jerry Reinsdorf. You
of
cheap
course.
bastard. God bless you.
It always goes back to that second shit.
Every fucking time, bro.
Well, moving on, speaking of people that should be on a hot seat somewhere, managers on the hot seat. Dante, I kind of want to give your thoughts on 3 or 4 managers that you might have on the hot seat. I have a couple. The list was pretty long when I was making it. Surprisingly, I know there was a lot of moving and shaking this past season, but
yeah.
What do you think?
I got 2 in a possible. Like I had more, but I think these 2 right here are my big 2. Number 1 is AJ Finch. AJ Hitch, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I knew you would.
Yeah. The 4 you've been in Detroit 4 years and they haven't got anything off the ground. Like that was one of those moves. They expected him to come in there,
that was
bring
a big
energy
sign
to that. It was a big sign because remember he was supposed to come to the White Sox.
The White Sox wanted him. Yeah,
they fumbled that. They put his signature on the Tony La Russa, whatever. But no, yeah. But that ball club has really struggled. They've really struggled. Even that's a winnable division. If you can't get them to win, 85 games, like what's going on. So I think him, my guy in Washington. I know we give guys a longer leash when they win a World Series, but that was 2019. They brought some young talent in. They made a couple steps. Josiah Gray was an all-star. CJ, we saw a little bit of power from him that we didn't expect to see. I know I damn sure didn't. But at the end of the day, I think, when you start to get further and further removed from that World Series, it's not going to be like what the A's did with Socha, where he just stayed there for a decade after they went to the World Series. So I think that's a guy who he really has to make something shake. And last, the White Sox.
Is this your possible?
Yeah, this is my possible.
Goddamn well.
Pedro, that I do think that is my possible because Getz has constantly talked about the attitude of the team. He doesn't like the energy on the team, and one person who's responsible for a lot of that is the manager. You set the tone. So if you've reset the deck, you bring in some people that you think you should at least not. Obviously, I don't think they're going to contend for the division, but if you should see mentality change, you should see them be better defensively. You should see them be sharper. If you don't see that, then he possibly is not the guy to lead your team down that direction. So I think Pedro, his seat is definitely warmer than people think this year.
Can I just say this about, and we're gonna get into more full detail over the Cubs and the White Sox in the local hour. Me and Dante will. Courtney, I want your opinion on this because I think this is gonna be one of the worst White Sox teams in the history of that shitty franchise, and that's saying a lot because they got a lot of shitty ass teams.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if these motherfuckers win 60 games. What is your take before we get to your list of hot seat and then of course remaining free agents? What's your take on how both sides of Chicago baseball are going to fare this year?
I think it is going to be before I give my opinion on the Cubs, I got to see if they're going to sign Cody Bellinger or not. I don't know what their plan is. There's some holes in that lineup for me and in that rotation, but, I digress. But the White Sox, that's not even worth discussing. It's damn sure not worth watching. My White Sox friends are some of the most passionate baseball fans I know, and I'm so proud of them for taking the steps to actively not watch that baseball team. I
don't know any. I've been shamed for moving away from this thing.
Yeah, it's disgusting because you have the ability to field a competitive team. The brand is strong as hell, and yet you actively choose to not do that. Oh, well, we're in a retool. That is not a retool.
We're gonna build a new stadium for Smokescreen and try to beat the Bears.
And you think you as an owner deserve the sports stadium allocation? Yeah, if anybody should deserve it, it's the freaking Bears. The Bears should get that old ass stadium. They should get
at least they trying to move the franchise in the right way. Go ahead, Dante.
Yeah, correct.
I'll say this.
You weren't great last season, but I know you have the number one pick. That's the problem with having the number one pick is that people automatically in your mind, they think that you're like the Carolina Panthers and you lost, every fucking game this season.
No, they got that from Carolina.
The Bears were good, yeah. So give the Bears the money. Don't give the fucking White Sox and Jerry Reinsdorf any more goddamn money. Not until he spends more than $85 million on a free agent. Literally start the challenge right now. Jerry Reinsdorf, spend more than freaking $80 million on a free agent challenge. Go. Literally, we're all going to be dead.
Go ahead, Dante.
That's bad. I'll just say this, close to Montgomery's player comp is Corey Seager. So, we may have one.
Okay.
We may have one.
Okay.
We may have one.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that bullshit.
We may have a guy. We may have a guy.
Mike, you be right with him.
Mikey be right with me.
Mikey been singing
that.
Have you seen that swing? Have you seen that swing?
The White Sox Instagram posted a video using a really popular TikTok sound, and it was like, "Are you new here?" Talk from Andrew Benintendi. I don't remember who else is standing with him, and then it went to every single new, and it was like, yeah, and there were a bajillion new White Sox players, and Mikey is like, I can't believe that I have to watch Nicky Lopez play baseball on my
Let's be very clear. She's very clear. Mikey is watching at least 65 games with him.
100%.
He can fool me all he want. We gonna get mad. And this shit might kind of decent middle of June.
Yeah, and I'll say this: the White Sox
is a degenerate. He was gambling. He literally texted me about some NHL shit last week, and I said, "Sir, take a break. NBA's in a break. You can take one too. I promise."
Yeah, take a break.
I don't think the White Sox could beat the Savannah Bananas, my nigga. That's how bad of a ball club.
They can't beat the Fort Wayne Wizards, nigga. They not beating nobody, bro.
If Colson Montgomery come out there swinging like Corey Seager.
Okay, look. Okay, let's just play devil's advocate and say he's good. It don't matter. He's gonna be sitting there being good with Louis Robinson.
Right, we're gonna enjoy the 4 seasons, and then when Scott Boras get him the fuck out of there, wherever team he go to. But while we got
Courtney, who's some managers on your hot seat?
Well, Dante named one of them. I had AJ Hinch in the back of my mind, but for me, that there's not as much of a rush to win in that division as there are in others. When I think about most important divisions in my mind, the AL Central is the last that I think of. I forget about it sometimes, honestly. But no, so managers on the hot seat for me, it is another guy with an A name, and he's the manager in New York, and that's Aaron Boone. The Yankees went 82-80 last season. And I know obviously a lot of that was not his fault. The Yankees have had a really difficult time staying healthy past couple of years. But like this season, when you just made all of these strides, and like people were calling for their jobs, they as in Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman last year. And if you probably listen to like any freaking Yankees or New York sports radio, there's a lot of people saying that Aaron Boone needed to go. But if you don't do something meaningful, get this team into the playoffs, bare minimum this season, oh, you're gone. Like he has to be gone. You signed way too many people to not get into the playoffs at the very least. I think they should win the division, but you also got Baltimore to deal with. So I don't know. Good. And Toronto. Speaking of, again, that's another possible. He's also on the hot seat, but he's not on my list.
One of the Yankees, I feel like the Yankees one of them teams who, because they're the Yankees, we letting them off the hook. Like these motherfuckers been stuck.
No, because they're the Yankees.
Yeah.
There's some serious pressure for them to win. I'm letting the Tigers off the hook because who gives a fuck about the Detroit Tigers?
But no,
they
but I mean,
Jack Flaherty.
There's a lot of people on the Tigers big last couple years. They're gonna be the next
last few years because of AJ. But no. I think with the Yankees, because it's kind of like with the Bulls in the sense that they know they are the big name and they can just say, hey, we've made like last year was the first time they missed the playoffs since 2016. They just don't make noise in the playoffs anymore. And so it's one of those things where I can still sell it. And like I think Hal Steinbrenner is not his dad. We're making money. Like we're the fucking Yankees. He doesn't care. Like until you get him to flip that switch, because the fact that you've kept the same battery of Cashman and Boone, despite every year coming up short, every year your analytic department fucks you over, and like they lean heavy on analytics, like super heavy. So hopefully this year, drop Aaron Judge in the lineup. You got some people who get on base in front of him. Let him really do damage in that 3 spot, in the more of a traditional spot.
Mayhew, Juan Soto,
gotta be
Judge, Giancarlo Stanton at 4. That's murderer's row.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. Don't come
it's
back.
hard for Aaron to fuck this up.
Yeah.
I don't have this name is not on the hot seat. He just got hired, so he's not on the hot seat. But I do really want to see what the fuck, because Craig Counsell, they gave him the most money.
I thought you were gonna say somebody else, because I also have a first-year manager on my hot seat.
Buddy in Houston.
Yep.
Buddy down in Houston. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Buddy in Houston. Yeah.
I wore this hat for a very specific reason today, because both of these guys,
fire hat, by the way,
opinion, are on the hot seat. In my opinion, obviously, Rob Thompson of the Phillies, a little bit more, just because, listen, you blow a 3-2 freaking lead in the NLCS and you drop those last couple games at home. And listen, all respect to the Diamondbacks. Hell of a team and a hell of a season that they put together last season. Come on, man. In Philadelphia, that can't happen. That can't happen.
I want to see what Craig Counsell is going to do, because one, as an outsider, and I got a lot of Cub fan homies. They have been disappointed with the way the Cubs are going about this offseason. And the local hour, we're going to go more in depth about that. But I want to see, like, if you paid him the more, I think it's the biggest contract for a coach in MLB history, if I'm not mistaken. What's going to be the difference? Because I thought that David Ross had his issues, obviously, and I have a problem with them firing him. But what's going to be the difference between him and David Ross, considering it's pretty much going to be the same roster?
Serious manager.
Yeah, he was never a serious manager. But like, how's it?
He
I gotta see a big jump.
The gap year manager, so to speak.
Yeah.
He was the guy that got you, respectfully, kind of like Dusty Baker. He got them, and he kind of waded, them through the tough waters. Fortunately, that team was still good enough for them to, win. But like, Dusty Baker they kind of treated Dusty a little bit. They kind of did my man a little bit wrong. They did my man a little wrong.
Yeah. They put him in there to repair their image. It was like, Dusty, we can't make you the fall guy, but hey, we know you can deflect the fuck out of what just happened. Because like we keep talking about the fact that nobody was punished. There was no real, resolve to that situation outside of Beltran getting fucked out of a job, which I think outside of that, but it's crazy. So yeah, I think his seat is going to be a little hot this year, because you have to do something, because that ball club is still talented, and we've made these runs. So what we going to do, bro?
My last one.
Go ahead.
Besides obviously Joe Espada, which again, that's more just me being realistic about the expectations of Houston fans and how they have been to 7 straight ALCSs, and they're kind of used to it and they're not going to expect anything less. So again, his seat is not hot. He's not getting canned, halfway through the season, unless they freaking lose every game, unless by some extenuating circumstances, the man's not losing his job. There's just like a little tea light candle under it, it's warm. But no, hot seat. And I love him to death. Dave, you're my guy. Dave Roberts in LA, my brother in Christ. If you can't do it this year, or next year, latest.
Nah, fuck next year. It's gotta be this year.
Well, I only say next year latest because they still don't have they're probably not going to get Kershaw back this year. That shoulder surgery shit is
oh, he's done for the year.
I mean,
he's gonna be late.
Not going to get him. I would be really shocked if Clayton Kershaw pitches this year, coming off shoulder surgery.
Yeah,
I forgot. I hope I'm wrong. I am not. For legal reasons, I am not a doctor. I hope that I am wrong. But I don't. He's getting older. Shoulder surgery is no joke. It's just hard for you to come back from. We only have Shohei Ohtani as a DH. I don't know. There's a lot of question marks for me still with that team, and of course they got to stay healthy. But beyond the health, Dave Roberts, over the course of time, has made some questionable decisions. And I know people will say, oh, well, the analytics said this and the analytics said. As a manager, I feel like you gotta have some feel. And I can't help but think about, just because we did talk about Dave Martinez in 2019, I can't help but think about when Dave Roberts let Clayton Kershaw go back out there for the 8th inning. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those two back.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
that Gerardo Parra and Howie Kendrick. First off, hope that guy's
Howie fucking Kendricks.
Wherever he is, I hope he's having a phenomenal day, because that shit was crazy in LA. Nasty work. But yeah, those are my guys. Really, that I think are on the hot seat this season. If I had more time, I could talk all about Ali Marmol in the Cardinals, because that's also one of my possibles.
Well, one last thing before we get you out of here. Who outside of Cody Bellinger, because I feel like that's the big one. Who are some free agents that are still out there that you think can still make an impact?
Yeah, so I have there were a couple of signings over the weekend, just kind of getting everybody looped in. Kind of bigger ones. Liam Hendricks agreed to 2 years with the Red Sox, $10 million over the course of 2 years with a 3-year mutual option. So good for him. Beating cancer, that's fucking awesome. Good for him. The Red Sox also made an interesting trade, which kind of in a sense tells you where they are as an organization. And it was with the Royals. I said it before. Watch out for the 2024 Kansas City Royals. I'm buying in. I'm buying in right now. They're gonna make the playoffs. Take that for data.
What makes you so high on the Royals? I gotta be missing something. Why are you high on the Royals?
They're in a very winnable division.
They're not better than Cleveland.
They're in a very winnable division. I said what I said. They are in a very winnable division.
Okay. I'm not mad at it. I like the bold take. Listen,
if I am wrong, clip this, do whatever.
We gonna clip this back.
Finish last in the division. That's fine. I can live with that. That's totally fine. I also tweeted last September in 2022. I was like, you know what? The Rangers are. I'm not saying that they're gonna win the World Series, but they could. They could. And
but that wasn't a hot take. Like that. That
was a pretty hot take.
That was a mild take. This
is
money.
This is fish grease hot.
Supposed to finish 4th in the division last season. 4th. They were supposed to finish 4th in the division.
Okay. You could be right. I don't know. Go ahead, Dante.
No. Cody is really my guy. I know you said that's the big fish, and we're not really gonna talk
Blake
about
Snell
Cody.
is the big.
Yeah. Blake is the biggest name, but Cody's really my guy. He's the youngest. He's 29 years old, and I truly believe he really just needed to take a step away from LA, all of the pressure, get healthy, And I think Cody's going to be more like the Cody Bellinger we saw when he won MVP. So for me, it's still Cody. I think Blake Snell will probably get a shorter deal. I think the Yankees, like I said last couple episodes ago, they need to make that call because, Carlos Rodon, he's, he will probably be hurt this year. It's just what happens. It's a part of it. We got another lefty, Jordan Montgomery. He's still out there.
See, the problem with Blake Snell is, and I know Mikey talked about it, how his walk rate, even though obviously he's an elite pitcher, his walk rate keeps going up. If I continued, my walk rate continued to go up as I'm pitching and going throughout my career, Cy Youngs or not, I wouldn't want to sell myself to a 2, maybe 3-year deal. Possibility that you get hurt in there obviously always exists. But then if your walk rate's going up, it's going to be really hard to get another team to buy into you with a significantly higher walk rate. Again, I'm just following a statistical trend here. If it does continue in that same manner, then you have, I don't know. I don't blame him for wanting to wait it out for something long-term. I said that the funniest possible outcome.
I don't blame it either because I feel like the Cubs trying to cheapen. Like that's what I feel.
No, because my whole thing is it following an analytical trend, or is this one of those analytics going wild moments simply because this is back in the day, a guy coming off a season like Blake Snell, he would have got paid. It would have been no question about it. He would have got broke the fuck off.
Well, the Yankees are the ones being cheap.
Yeah, I don't understand.
That man would.
I don't understand.
That man would be in pinstripes. You're offering him 5 years, $165 million. I'm so sorry. You can't tell me that Blake Snell is worth only $60 million more than Josh Hader.
I definitely thought y'all was talking about Cody Bellinger. I was doing two things at once. No,
I brought it.
I'm with you on that one too. For somebody who just won the Cy Young, but with both of these, even with the Cody Bellinger situation, is I think they're rating for the right dollar amount, and I think the closer you do get to camp, it's going to come to a point where somebody's going to have to eventually cough up that money. I think Blake is in a better position than Cody because I think a lot of people, I don't know if the Cubs were thinking, was that just a 1-year thing and he's going to get right back to having the same issues that he had prior to that. So that's why I think probably the holdup is. But I think in general, the MLB needs to set a timeline for this shit because we get so hyped up. It's not going to happen, but we get so hyped up for this all season.
You're doing the bidding of owners, Scott. I'm disappointed. You're shilling for billionaires right now.
As a fan, it's annoying as hell that we're literally spring training's already started. We're like a month away from the actual season starting, and we still got some of the top free agents unsigned. It's crazy.
Matt Chapman doesn't have a job right now, Scott. That's a problem.
Yeah. So go ahead, Dante. You had something else?
I was about to say, real quick. I think 2 out of the 3, if not all 3, are Boris clients. So I mean,
Yep. And again, maybe the next show we can get into a little bit of the nitty gritty about Boris Corp and how
man Scott.
Man, we can. I have some thoughts. I might post them up on Twitter. Actually, I might not even wait until the next show. I might throw them up on Twitter because I have some thoughts about Boris Corp clients and how my guy has been handling free agency as of the past 2-3 years. I got some thoughts. They're in the drafts.
Well, we're bringing Bang back off the bench here as we wrap this segment up for the hot corner. We're going to get ready to start our transition into our local hour warm-up. So, Courtney, we appreciate you for your giving us this good baseball talk. We're going to have more and more of this as we get closer to the baseball season. I'm actually waiting for the actual games to start. Go ahead, Dante.
I'm so ready.
I'm about to say, and real quick, we did you dirty today. Let's hit them with the graphic real quick.
We forgot to hit you with the graphic. We forgot the graphic.
Well, now I look crazy because I ain't got no makeup on today, and no, you know what? It's crazy. I look good. Okay, we look good.
You're good to go. Everything's good. You're good.
Please don't get Orlando started. Like, please don't get Orlando started.
Shout out to my biggest fan, Orlando. What's up, homie?
Yeah. Hit him with the homie.
Dang, I didn't mean that. That's crazy. Justice for Orlando.
No justice for that nigga. Nah. But Courtney, let them know where they can follow you at and everything you got going on, in tune with you.
yeah, follow me on X and Instagram at 1-800-CALLA-BRO. I'm always firing off some wild tweets, especially now that baseball season is back. I will be back on my BS. So please don't hesitate to follow me and DM me any possible leads. If you have the inside scoop on something, your girl needs a good source. So hit me up. My DMs are always open, but don't come crazy.
Alex,
Here comes the pervert.
Wait, on Friday when you said follow me on X, somebody put in the chat. Are we calling it X now? Like, yeah. It's Twitter forever. Fuck
It's
Elon.
the bird app is what I really call it.
We calling it Twitter forever. We
Is
still
Daddy
call
calling Twitter? I'm gonna call
we,
him.
oh, if Daddy called Twitter, we still call the Sears Tower the Sears Tower. I'm not calling the Willis Tower. I was corrected by Los Angeles natives when I moved out here. It's not Westfield Mall, nigga. It is Fox Hills Mall. That's how so it is Twitter forever. But Courtney, we gonna holler at you. We appreciate you coming on per usual.
Cheers, guys.
Yep. Let's get into our our, as I like to call it, we're gonna call it the local hour warm up as we get ready for the actual local hour, man. And if you want to get in tune with the local hour, y'all know what y'all need to do. Y'all need to subscribe to the Patreon, the Patreon right now, patreon.com/Barbers Chair Network. Subscribe to the $5 holla, or you can subscribe to the Barbers Chair All Access. We get everything. We had a great Summer Sessions episode last week. We're gonna have another good one this week. More story time with Bang. So check that out. Of course, as you can see at the bottom screen, everything we're gonna be talking about in the local hour, man. We're gonna be talking about, we got the combine coming up. We are officially on combine watch. And by the way, you might want to tune in to both shows next week. Dante, we can't hear you clapping because you're on mute.
No, I did that on purpose. I did that on purpose. Okay.
But if you, I will pay attention to next week's show. I'm just gonna put it out there since it is confirmed. We got Jason Leisure joining us on Monday. My man from the Chicago Sun-Times on the Chicago Bears beat. One of my favorite guys on the beat. There's a lot of cool people on the beat, but I am biased. Jason's one of my favorite guys, and Herb is one of my favorite guys. There's only three people who, when I come to the games, I'm not just going to do the regular dap up. Nah, Jason and Herb are my mans. Jason will be joining us on Monday. And then next Friday, we got a big guest, the homie Jonathan Hood, one half of the J Hood, the Captain J Hood morning show, will be joining us next Friday. Mikey will be here for both shows. Mikey also be joining me on Not Gonna Hold You Halftime this Wednesday on the Patreon. So that's going to be a great show to talk about everything going on in Bears land with the combine coming up, man. But as we get you ready for the local hour, let's talk about Ryan Poles is officially about to be on the clock starting tomorrow, as it is the franchise tag period, if you want to call it, man. He has up until March 5th to figure out what he's going to do as far as the franchise tag. Is he going to franchise tag Jalen Johnson, or is he going to actually give him a long contract? We just found out today, Mike Evans doesn't look like it's going to be tagged. They're going to be putting the tag on Antoine Winfield Jr. That's a big thing. Could the Bears be, doing that? Bang. What do you think this is going to happen? Are you expecting a long-term deal, or, what are you expecting from this?
It's hard to say, but I'll go out on a limb and say that nothing gets done until before the season starts. The franchise tag for any player is just easy to go ahead and get that done, set it and forget it, until you really have to sign anybody when we get to, and that's when we get to that deadline. And I forgot exactly when that deadline is. But it's just
the deadline is March 5th.
There you go. And that's to actually sign a long-term deal, correct?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say right now, because it's also free agency coming up right behind that too. So for any team, with any type of cap space, do you franchise, give that person that top 5 average, and then just go from there, or do you go ahead and get it out the way? It's hard to say.
Dante, which way you think this is gonna go?
It ain't hard for me. Sign him, get this shit over with. You got an all-pro cornerback, one of the best players on your
They
team.
should.
Lock him in. That way, now I have a better idea of what, because I already know that's one big contract down. So if I want to do 2 big contracts, if I want to do, 2 in a possible, I need to set that number with Jalen because he's probably going to be the biggest contract you give out this offseason. Nigga like me, I want them to go out to Saquon Barkley. That's just me personally. But that's more so of a luxury, not a need. So I think you set the tone with Jalen, you lock him in. And then you go down the list and go from there. Like you said, you got Mike Evans out there. You got guys out there that can contribute to this football team next season. So Duger, I don't know, have they made a decision on him yet? But you got a lot of good talent out there, both in the draft and via free agency. So I would try to get that Jalen deal done, get him locked in, and then we could really go to work and start crunching some numbers and seeing, where we need to get in, where we fit in.
I think both of y'all got good points, but honestly, I think it's gonna get done. I actually think it's gonna be something that's announced pretty quickly. Not something I feel like we're gonna hit tomorrow, but I do think they're gonna reach a long-term deal before the March 5th deadline. This is something where it's been talked about in the circles. People keep saying, the numbers are there, and of course, when Ryan Poles said that, Jalen's not going anywhere, I think he also means he's not going anywhere because we can't reach a deal. I'm just going to franchise tag his ass. But from everything we've been hearing, I would be shocked if March 5th rolls around and he is on a tag. I don't think there's anybody else on the Bears who I would tag. So I kind of feel like it's not anything they have to make a decision. Unlike the thing they had to make a decision in Tampa, but I think this is going to be one of the first deals we hear about before things, start rolling out in that direction, man. What's some, on some non-Bears, what's some guys who you hope don't get tagged? I was really hoping Antoine Winfield wasn't going to get tagged, even though I knew he was, because we had to choose between him and Mike Evans, obviously going to go with the younger guy. Bang, is there anybody, on the franchise tag list that you hope doesn't get tagged that the Bears can maybe go after?
T. Higgins. T. Higgins. I've been hoping for about 2.5 years that the Bears somehow, some way, get T. Higgins in Hallis Hall. So I hope he does not get tagged. And if he does not get tagged, I hope that's who the Bears get as a second wide receiver. So T. Higgins would be that person.
Dante, who you looking at as you hope don't get tagged? You were on mute, dog.
Here we go with the bullshit. But no, I would say Saquon, Brian Burns, and probably T. Higgins. I know we've had the Bears Daniel Hunter smoke, so that's something to look out for because he's a possible as well. But I don't think with everything they got going on in Minnesota, they'll put the tag on him. But Saquon and Brian Burns, probably mainly Brian Burns because we do need another edge rusher. But if they do go luxury, get my dog Saquon. That'd be a great safety blanket for a rookie quarterback.
The Saquon thing is interesting to me because I wanted Saquon on the team last year. I see no way that the Giants franchise tag him. I don't see that happening at all. They didn't franchise tag him last year, did they?
No.
Or they just gave him like a 1-year deal. They just gave him like a 1-year deal, yeah.
No, they franchised him, but then they gave him a little short deal.
Yeah, okay. You're right.
So that means they can't use it again, right?
No, the deal he signed is a provision where they can use it again if they want to.
Oh, they can use it again. Okay, so they can use it again if they want to. I would be surprised if they did. That would kind of shock me if they did that. I think they have other uses for that. But I would love to see Saquon. It's not the thing with Saquon, of course, obviously T. Higgins is one that stands out. I think T will be franchised just because I don't think he's coming back to the Bengals, but I do think they'll tag him and trade him. I think that's probably something that will happen. I can't see a way that they just let him hit the open market. Don't get nothing for him. That would stun me. But Saquon is something where if he fits exactly what the Bears need, he gives you that burst of speed. He is an every down back as close as you can get to one for this league. I don't feel that. What's my man? He's 23. He's the Bears running back rookie. I'm escaping my name.
Rashawn Johnson.
Rashawn Johnson.
Rashawn. I feel like he would be a way to help, Rashawn get. I don't think Rashawn is ready for full-time, 100%, number one running back snaps. I feel like that would be something that's great. And as good as Khalil Herbert is, he's not a guy who I want. If I'm not confident with the Bears running back room, they need a lot more speed in that backfield.
Sleeper for the Bears backfield. When we trade Justin to Atlanta, if we can't get Kyle Pitts, give us Tyler Algier.
The things that make you go, I still don't want him in Atlanta. I rebuke this Atlanta Falcons smoke. Dante just wants him there so he can see him more. He ain't low. That's all that
Absolutely,
is.
brother. I will be there on Sundays. I will be there. They got
That's all
$5
that
beers
is.
in the dome. We're gonna be drunk. I will be there.
Yeah, that's all that is. Bang, what do you think about Saquon and like the possibility of that?
If I get Saquon, I have to trade Herbert. He's in the last year of his rookie deal too. So if I'm doing that, I'm going all in on Saquon and Roschon Johnson. So that might be another piece that we can trade to get a pick back. I just don't see you signing Roquan. I don't see you signing Saquon Barkley, and keeping Herbert and Johnson. It'd have to be Saquon Johnson, and maybe finding like another bruiser, so to speak, to fill in that spot where Foreman would be at.
I think there's going to be a surprise signing because Poles always has that one surprise. I think last year was the Tremaine Edmonds was like the surprise one.
Yep.
Because I brought that up on 79th and Hallis. I just brought it up just because I like Tremaine Edmonds, the way he plays linebacker. I was like, I would love to see Tremaine Edmonds on the Bears. And that was a surprise signing. I think that would be one that would kind of be the surprise signing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think we all would love the T. Higgins or the Chris Jones. Those just like massive deals that I just don't see Ryan Poles doing, especially if Jalen Johnson does get his contract. I feel like that would be something that's going to take up a lot of the cap. And then we also got where I don't think is his, the way he's been operating since he's been the general manager. He doesn't just spend money to spend money. And I think a lot of that is pretty much what, it's something that, that's something that fans like see the big splash signings, but that just isn't something that Ryan Poles just looks like he's going to do.
Yeah. I could see the two people that we end up signing is Hunter and Calvin Ridley. Like, as much as I want T. Higgins, I just feel like Danielle Hunter and Calvin Ridley are headed to Chicago. Well,
I think Calvin Ridley's for sure having.
Oh, you think that's for sure the one?
I don't think I know Mikey put in the chat he don't want Calvin Ridley. I think that I would love Mike Evans. I personally think Mike Evans is going to Kansas City. I think Mike Evans is going to Kansas City. That's what I think. I think they're going to give him a reasonable deal. I think the Bears can offer him more money than Kansas City, but he's going to have a chance to get another ring, and he's going to have his numbers will be insane.
That'd be nasty.
With Patrick Mahomes. That's what I think he's going to go.
That's like Randy Moss going to Tom Brady.
with Ridley gambling habits being in Chicago would be terrible. Yeah, we don't see him at that. What's the new casino downtown?
Was that the Rivers Casino or some shit?
Yeah, Rivers Casino.
Or Bally's?
Bally's, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That one where I would feel like he would. That to me is the most realistic one. That just seems like that one's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, really nice. He can work, outside and in a slot. Him and DJ, so you have a lot of versatility, and that's something we always talked about. We needed more of an offense. So he also knows how to run a fucking slant. So, I would like Calvin Ridley on the Bears. That would be something I think it would be a good addition, and it probably wouldn't cost that much.
Yeah, it's not going to cost that much, I don't think. I think the thing here, when we got to look at it, we only got a couple more minutes and then we'll wrap this up. I think what you got to look at it is you need a number 2. I think they're going to get number 2 in the draft. I don't think anybody like I said, I would love Mike Evans on this team, but I think he's going to go where he's going to go at number 9. I think he's going to get 1 or 3 wide receivers that I'm hoping falls there because a lot of wide receiver needy teams and a couple picks in front of them. Wow, if you can come home with the neighbors or a Dunze, or obviously I would love him to trade it for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think they're gonna go get one of those there, and then maybe you got Ridley as your vet number 2, and then he eventually will be a number 3. That's what I think is more realistic. But I would love T. Higgins or Mike Evans. I just personally don't see that, man. So anything you guys wanted to rep on before we get ready to wrap this up, and move on to the local hour?
No, man. At least for me, I think we hit it on the head. Just going back to what we had talked about in the beginning, though, I really hope that really hope that the NBA really take a long look at fixing it and trying to get back the competitive nature of the game. I know that we killed Major League Baseball, and still do. When they implemented whoever wins the All Star game, they get home field advantage inside of the playoffs. But after that, you really start seeing MLB have consistent active baseball games, like competitive active baseball games. I don't know what happens here. I don't think you do that because I think in basketball is very important, very very important, and I don't know if they want to do that there. They got to do something to make this competitive, man. All Star Weekend used to be something that you look forward to and you watch as a family, and right now we're losing recipes. We're losing recipes when it comes to the NBA. So let's get that back.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say that's dead because baseball don't even do that shit no more. Like,
Yeah, that's
and
what
I
I'm
just
saying.
yeah, I'm about to say, but me personally, I hated that for several reasons. Because I'd be damned if I bust my ass in the regular season and we went on these games and I don't have home field advantage because you niggas didn't take an exhibition serious. Like, so like you said, niggas gonna be pissed on that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, the league got to do something. It's like, and that leads back to what we keep saying. Like, it's gonna take them changes. I know my example was wild as hell in the beginning of the show, but no, seriously, it's gonna take the players going out there and not doing what Anthony Edwards said. And he said, well, we just here on break. Like, nah, we know we on break, but we came to hoop. Like, we came
I,
here to
I
hoop.
was I was doing peak producer stall. I'm glad I was doing that. So now we're gonna bring in our guest. Like we're gonna have the last
Oh, okay.
clip. We got
My
the homie
guys,
Larry Legend, man. If you are not in tune with this brother, man, one of the best comedians out there. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Larry is Legend, man. I'm glad we got everything working to get you back up on
man.
here, man. Yes, we're gonna take the next 10 minutes, man. Basically, he is going to be our new culture correspondent here on the show, man. We're gonna be talking about everything going on in the world of hip hop and the world of entertainment. Larry, what's going on, my brother?
Nothing much, man. I came in on y'all talking about that All-Star game or whatever you want to call that shit. Uh, I just want to let y'all know before we get into it. Yes, I'm gonna be a part of the show. I wanna bring in a new segment. I want to show you guys some bring the culture to the show. Just a little bit of
Yeah.
my take on the culture to the show. I appreciate y'all guys for having me on. Uh I don't want to jump into too much real quick, but I do want to say that I'm gonna be, I got a little bit of a segment. This is not how it's gonna be set up.
Right.
This is just the crib. You know how it goes.
Right.
But, I don't know what y'all was. I know y'all was talking about the
Well,
All-Star game.
well, pretty much what I wanted to ask you is like before we get to like your opinions on All-Star Weekend, because we didn't win about that all show. But what's some things like that's been happening in entertainment that's kind of like stood out to you like over the last couple of weeks? We
And
just
all
came back
entertainment.
in all in music, whatever. No, anything that's like something that's like a hot button topic to you. That's something you had like strong opinions on
Hey,
lately.
I can't speak for Tay, but I know you, Scott, and we some Hove fans. Hove foul as hell for the shit he said at the Grammys. Period. I
Yeah,
don't agree with nothing. I
me neither.
statement, but from him, I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he was talking about how we gotta come together and this and that and blah blah blah. Like, brother, you're on the stage where you can start all this shit. And instead of saying, I'm not accepting this Grammy because y'all ain't get my girl her just due, he still accepted the Grammy. I didn't fuck with that.
and
So
then he
like
left.
things that's going on in the culture that I do have an opinion about, you know what I mean? And I think we all feel the same way about it. Like Hove, he sold us a river, bro. You know what I mean? Ain't no fish in that bitch. Ain't nobody else can but him. So it's like we gotta get to the point where if we're gonna speak on black people and we're gonna speak on the culture and all these type of things, we gotta make sure everybody eating. And I feel like Hove said that shit in a place of Hove. You know what I mean? Like he's up.
Yeah,
But the rest of us, we
yeah,
looking at this like, man, ain't nobody won a Grammy. You the most awarded, the most nominated motherfucker in all history, I believe. It was Hove.
yeah. I
Yep.
think
Yeah, I
it's
think
Hov.
so.
I
Yeah,
can't name 5 Hove albums that's Grammy nominated and worthy. To be real with you, I love Hove, but come on, dog. Like to get up on that stage and do that thing, was a little wild. And there's some other things that's going on in the culture, but that's my take. That's what I'm trying to give to y'all, like
Right.
these type of takes. Because like even this All-Star game, I heard you talking, Tay, about Anthony Edwards, bro. Like, buddy, come on, dog.
It's
You come out
crazy.
there and shoot all left-hand jumpers, you can't hit one. You know what I mean? Like, I'm left-handed, so I felt
forgot about that.
disrespected by stuff like that because it's like, oh, you trying to disrespect. You think that this is that easy, and then you go
Yep.
out there and you look a fucking fool because they don't care about the game, they don't care about the break, they don't care about the fans. I know it's in Denver. I mean, I know it's in what was it at? Indiana.
Indiana.
If let me see, all three of y'all niggas is y'all from here, so y'all know Indiana ain't a joke, ain't a game. You know what I mean? Like it's not the thing we want to do. So it's like, bro, y'all come there, y'all hoop, y'all do y'all thing. Next year it's gonna be in what? San Francisco?
San Francisco and then LA after that. Yeah.
LA gonna be the show, but San Francisco gonna be the damn same thing as Indiana. You feel me?
Low key, quietly.
It's damn near the same thing. The only difference is it got a group of rich niggas in the suburb.
And it's got a nice looking arena. As Chuck said on the telecast last night, there ain't nothing to do in San Francisco to get robbed.
Bro, to be fair, Indiana got some people with money too, but they usually work for they were usually in the government and in the army. I ride through San Francisco. I mean, I ride through Indiana, and I see all those. The Air Force run that motherfucker. All the rich people, the Air Force motherfuckers, they live out there. They got the flags posted. Those are the type of people who live in Indiana, bro. It's just crazy to me. Like Indiana is also probably top 5 basketball states in America.
Yep.
And they go up in there and they shoot 300 jumpers from half court yesterday. It was the worst game I ever saw. Worst game I ever fucking saw in my life, bro. Like
we were ranting for like the whole show. I was disgusted as a basketball fan, and the thing to me, like I think LA will be fun. I mean, LA is always fun, but I think what's gonna make it even extra fun is it's not a Staples Center. It's gonna be at the new Clippers Arena, Intuit Dome, which I've seen the outside of it. It looks fucking massive. So that's gonna be something new, but. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, man. But don't want to keep you. I know we got to wrap this up. You'll be back next week as we'll have the full segment. Just wanted to introduce you to the people and everything they can look forward to coming with this segment, man. If y'all are not in tune with Leroy, y'all gotta get in tune, man. Follow him on Twitter and Instagram at Larry is Legend. Man, when I started Barber's Chat Network with Pierce and my brother, we had these meetings when we first came with the idea. I reached out to Lero and reached out to my man Rico, RIP, long live Rico. We had first meeting we had about it. It was me, Lero, Rico, Pierce, my brother. Bar Louie, downtown South Loop Bar Louie, came up with the original concept, man. So I'm definitely glad to have you on here in some capacity. So definitely look forward to what you got for us next week, bro.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna be on this mug. I got some, we gonna get this thing together. Like I said, this is the set y'all will see sometimes when we not on the set. But I do have a set because I don't have a camera like Bang that can make me look as good. You know what I mean?
Bang got his 5 screens set up over there.
Nigga, that's a light in the iMac camera. Nigga.
I need a ring light.
Yeah. I got one of these rig lights here that them IG models be using when they selling tea and shit.
Hey, no. Pause. All y'all look good. All y'all look good. I look blurry. I'm trying to do like y'all, man.
Definitely, bro. Follow him, get in tune with him, and he'll be back next week, bro. Glad you can hop on real quick.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So we're gonna wrap this up, man. We're gonna wrap this episode up, y'all. Get ready for the local hour of the show coming up. We're gonna get into all of the good shit that we're about to get into, man. Y'all know where to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BarbChair Scott. Y'all can follow the Barber's Chat Network at Barber's Chat Net. Subscribe to the Patreon, man. Patreon.com/Barber's Chat Network. Follow the Barbers Chat Network at Barbers Chat Net on Twitter and IG. Follow our partners, H&B Media, and at H&B Media TV on Twitter and at H&B Media on Instagram. Get into our sponsors, Pillars. You go to pillarsclub.co. Get everything you need from there, or you can visit any of their 4 Chicagoland locations. There's one on East 87th Street, which will only be there for another week. They're going to relocate on February 26th, and when they get the new store information, we'll get that to y'all. Y'all can visit the Chicago Ridge location, the Orland Park location, of course, the West Loop location on Madison, man. Visit pillarsclub.co for all the information on that. And of course, you can follow JR Bang at JR Bang. You can follow Dante at October's on Tay. And we're going to holler at y'all on Friday. I will have the Patreon show on Wednesday. Me, Mikey will be joining us. And then we back next week. Big show for Friday and next week, man. We up out of here.